Hi, welcome to Gam's Garden, where we are growing in northern Florida our own vegetables so we can avoid pesticides and all kinds of poisons that are in the world today. Come along on our journey as we share how we're growing, what we're growing, and why we're growing. Okay, here we have basil. And Genovese basil typically grows really well here, even in the cold weather. This is a purple basil that I just decided to try just because it looks real pretty. But basil is always good for everything. You can dry it. And then we also have holy basil, which is very medicinal. Check out that on the internet. You'll learn some interesting information about holy basil and anxiety and depression. We have some scallions, a little bit of grass growing in it. We have some beneficial bug mix that actually works in a way of it attracts the bugs that will be predator bugs, and they'll eat the bad bugs that eat your food. So you want the bugs that eat other bugs, not the bugs that eat your food. Here we have some purple turnips. Those are purple turnips down there. I have 2 trays of those. We love turnips. The broccoli this year, and I think it has to do with the variety, hasn't really done very well, and I think it's Waltham. It does really well to make microgreens, which I'll have another video about and show you how to grow your own microgreens. We have, I tried some new varieties of tomatoes. Tomatoes really struggle here past the spring because of the humidity. So I'm trying some new varieties this year, and I've started them early before it gets too hot. Typically your tomatoes peter out, into May, whenever the humidity starts to creep up here in Florida. So these are sun cherry, 65 days, and they're going to be a cherry type tomato. Then I've got chocolate cherry back here in this back tray. Those actually do really well here as long as you keep them cool and keep the fungus off of them. This one's a new variety I'm trying. It's called Katana. It's actually a Japanese hybrid. Here's the seed packet. Japanese red Katanas. We'll see how those are. I haven't tried those yet. Cilantro, this is a slow bolt type because of the heat here. They will bolt pretty quick, so I'm trying to keep them from bolting. Cilantro's easy to grow earlier in the year. When it gets too hot, it bolts fast. And we got some arugula, same thing with the arugula. It'll bolt really quick when it gets real warm, so I try to keep it cooler. These are Super 100 cherries, cherry tomatoes. They do really well here. You just got to be real careful to keep them cool and not so hot. And I grow a lot of those, so I have several up potted. I start them from seed in smaller pots, and then I slowly move them up as their roots grow to kind of keep them from getting too much fungus. You got to keep them with a lot of air on them. That's the other trick in Florida, is keep the airflow going. So if you notice, I have them in a covered tent. Right now, I don't need to shade it, but that's the other trick in Florida, is eventually you'll need to put some of this over the top. It's called, it's just basically a shade. And you can get it anywhere from 30%, 40%, 50%. Typically, I use between 30 and 40, depending on the season and how high the sun is. Cucumbers are the other thing that I struggle to grow here. If y'all have any tricks on keeping your cucumbers alive longer, let me know. But the fungus tends to get them pretty quick, and as you can tell, we're already starting to get a little fungus. See those little dots on the leaves? That's fungus starting to form. So these are a tender green burpless. And this one, I think this one might be a Japanese one that I picked up. Yes, this one is Southern Delight. So I'm hoping this one will do better and be able to tolerate the humidity better. Because Japan, it's an island. Typical, we may not be an island, but we have the climate of an island here, especially in the summertime. So we have Southern Delight. That's the burpless. I have another one that I already up potted. I also started some snow peas, because who doesn't like snow peas? You can just eat them fresh, right out of the fridge or right out of the garden. So these are actually ready to go in the garden pretty quick. And I planted these a little bit later, honestly. But these are a variety you can plant even in the winter here. It might not grow as fast when the sun, the days are shorter. But as the days get longer, it'll start growing a little bit faster. Then, of course, I've got me a quick little pot of Detroit red beets. Red beets are my favorite. And this is another holy basil. I keep lots of holy basil Honestly, it's very medicinal, and I do delve into some medicinal extracts sometimes. So I've been making my own teas, but this is actually an excellent pollinator. It brings all the bees, because all those plants over there need to be pollinated. All right, let's go over here and we'll check out what's in the open greenhouse. This greenhouse gets lots of airflow because I have the plastic set up really high. It's like a high tunnel. It's actually an old garage frame that we turned into a high tunnel. And it is weighted down by the wood so that the wind doesn't take it. And then we built a frame on the front door. So, you know, you don't have to go and buy $20,000 equipment to grow in your neighborhood. And we live on less than an acre. So I started these because I learned that you need to grow plants that will help build the soil, because the soil here is very sandy, pretty much lacking everything you need to grow really good plants. And if you're from up north, you know what I mean. And if you try to grow here, I've come across several people. We live on a busy road, so lots of people stop by and say hi and want to know what I'm doing. So I figured actually starting this YouTube channel might help, and we can all get together and learn to grow in Florida together. So this is called Comfrey. It is a nitrogen fixer. So I'm going to put it around all my trees. I started it from seed. It's very easy to grow. Came up very, very easily. I've overwintered these, and I'm starting to feed them a little bit just to get them going a little bit more. And they're going to go around my fruit trees here before I'm done this spring. These are overwintered peppers, different varieties, jalapeno, serrano. I have one poblano that made it. Poblanos are probably the hardest ones to get to grow here, and I don't know if it might be the variety of poblano that I'm using. I haven't figured that one out yet, but if you have any ideas on how to grow poblanos better, give me a shout out. I know the one pepper that did very well was the, what's it called? Shishitos. It was very prolific, and it did very well. At some point you have to treat your leaves for the fungus, especially in the summer, because peppers like it hot. So it is the one thing that will grow here in the summer, as long as you can keep the fungus under control. I do have to feed them. They do require lots of phosphorus and potassium so that you get the fruit set that you need. And dill, I have some dill growing here. Dill is actually very helpful in the garden. It brings pollinators, but it also works as a companion plant and keeps the bad bugs away. The bad bugs really don't like it. So we have some sweet stem broccoli here. I actually picked that up at the store, and it grows really fast. You got to keep up with it, but it shoots out these little small heads, because I learned the very first year here, the big headed broccoli, by the time it gets a big head on it, it's got fungus on it. So those kind of broccolis don't do well in Florida. So don't waste your money at the store on the big headed broccoli or seeds, because you just won't get to eat it, because I don't want to eat it if it has fungus on it. It's not good for your tummy. And then parsley does really well here through the winter. It gets a little sparse in the summer because of the heat. But if you can protect it from the hot sun, like that shade cloth that I showed you, you can get it to survive the summer. These I planted last fall. I overwintered them in the greenhouse when it got chilly. And then I've just recently, in the last month and a half, put them back out in the sun. And they're doing really well. They're making a comeback. I had to trim them back a little bit, but this is a large leaf variety, so it gets a huge stem. I'll show you my one that I've been growing for 2 years in the greenhouse that's doing really well. This is the other variety. It's a bush variety cucumber. I just up-potted them from those small pots that you just saw for the other varieties that I'm growing. Put them in these big pots. I'm going to do an experiment this year. I put them in beds last year, and I did a couple of pots, and it seemed like the ones in the pots did better, because I can control how much water gets on the leaves, because like I said, the fungus gets the soft leaves like tomatoes and cucumbers really quick. And these are more overwintered peppers that are making a comeback. Yeah, if you get some good seeds that you like in the varieties of peppers, you can just put them in your garage or put them in a small greenhouse for the winter, just so they don't freeze. As long as the roots don't freeze, they'll drop their leaves, but they'll come back in the spring when it starts to warm up. Just give them some food, and they sprout right back up. This greenhouse is new. I just put it in maybe a month or so ago, a month and a half. And I've relocated and repotted some of those parsleys. It's really hot in here some days. So a couple of them are starting to go to seed. Typically I can cut that top off and slow them down a little bit, and then just make sure they have lots of airflow. So I need to open the plastic in there today and get them some fresh air so that they don't keep bolting. These peppers are an F1 variety I picked up at Johnny's, I believe. So I was trying it. It's supposed to have less problems with fungus. We will see. So, you never know what you're going to get with a hybrid. So, and honestly, they say you shouldn't reuse the seeds from a hybrid. Or if you do, wait to see out of the several that you plant, which ones came out the best, and see if you can go from there. Or you can try to start it from a stem. I haven't tried to do that yet. Let me know if y'all have had any luck trying to start plants from a clipping. Anyway, more parsley and more peppers because they do really well. I didn't have to buy any peppers last summer at all. Okay, we'll go over here to our other greenhouse. Oh, the other thing that I've been attempting to grow is moringa. I started these all from seed. And I bought 2 plants from Ace Hardware here in St. John's. And so I have several of them planted along with several other fruit trees. I have a peach tree, and he is a Florida peach tree actually. I think the most important thing that you need to learn when you're growing in Florida is you have to grow varieties that grow in Florida. If you try to grow something that's from the north, you're not going to have a whole lot of luck because it's used to being able to have cold winters and go dormant. We just don't get that kind of winter here. So those kind of varieties just don't do well here. Like this variety, for instance, I bought this one not knowing that I needed to pay attention to my climate and what grows here well. So I bought a Fuji apple. So far, it hasn't done much. I cut it back really far just a couple weeks ago in hopes that it will spark it to do something. I have 2 of them. That's the other thing. You have to have 2 of things so that they cross-pollinate. And I may not have them close enough together. So that might be the other problem that I'm running into because the other one is down there. It's the other bare tree. I don't know if you can see it from here. But I have an olive. Olive is supposed to do well here. This is a moringa. This is what you do to them every year when they're small. You cut them way back and force them to grow more branches at the bottom so that they're shorter and they get a stockier stem. I have some bananas that haven't really done anything. Trying to do more research on those. I hear that they like lots of nitrogen and lots of water. So they are on a sprinkler system. So we're looking to see what's going to happen this year with them because I have picked up some 10-10-10 from Ace Hardware and from the local nurseries. John's on 210 is really good. They typically have a good assortment of fertilizers for your garden as well. So I've been putting 10-10-10 and a liquid 10-10-10 on them. I had a friend of mine tell me his orange trees do excellent when he gives them a 10-10-10 at least once a month throughout the growing season and right before, which he starts in February, which I did that this year. This banana tree just keeps getting bigger, but he never makes any bananas. So I think he's past the point of making bananas, and I was looking for a baby. Apparently, there's one baby. I'll show you the baby. Here's the baby. So how bananas work, most varieties apparently, they only fruit once a year. And then after they fruit that once a year, they make babies. And that tree should fruit the next year. So I'm not sure if we're running out of time for this baby to actually grow and make fruit. But I am fertilizing. It seems like most of these, a couple of them don't have babies. Those 2 over there, I think those are dwarf Cavendish. So we'll see how these do. This is a tree that I learned online, grows really well here. It's a mulberry. It's called Pakistani mulberry. It likes the heat. I trimmed it way back. I have one more branch to trim. I couldn't trim that one with the cutters that I had. So today I have to go get my hacksaw and chop that last branch down to force it to hopefully to fruit this year. So this garden under here, and one of the other things I want to share is in Florida, you typically have to keep your stuff covered because of the rain. You can't control, it's hard to control the moisture. So things get overwatered when we have torrential downpours. So I control it by keeping the plastic over it. And in the summer, I lift that plastic up to that second post, and so it gets a lot of airflow. You need lots of airflow. For one, it helps the tomatoes pollinate, or any self-pollinating things, and it just gives it good airflow so that you can decrease your fungus growing. So these beds are ready to plant. So all those babies you saw in the greenhouse, the grow greenhouse, because they're basically all the same greenhouse, these ones just have beds in them. And then that one, the one that where the babies are growing, that's the nursery. So I've got some tomatoes that have been out here all winter, and they're struggling a bit. But now that the sun's coming up and they're getting lots of sun, and I just threw some compost and some potting mix on them yesterday, along with some organic, this one right here, organic garden tone. Added that to the soil. You can see the little brown bits, that's what those are. And then I wet it down real well because you need that, you need those to break down so that the plants have access to it. Here's some lettuce that did really well through the winter. I haven't cut it yet. A lot of it went to seed already. This is the only one that did not go to seed yet. So the chickens got some treats this week. This is a specific type of kale that has been growing for 2 years now. And I just pull leaves off of it and give it to the chickens. They love it. And this is the giant 2-year-old parsley I was telling you about. He looks like he's trying to go to seed, but I'm going to cut him back again and see if I can slow him down. But anyway, I have recently acquired a dehydrator. So people probably asking, what are you going to do with all that parsley? Well, number one, we love parsley. I put it in everything we eat, from our salads to Mediterranean calls for lots of parsley. Italian food calls for lots of parsley. But anyway, it's very good for you. It's good for your smoothies. I just came across a new friend. She has a YouTube channel called Green Smoothie Girl. So check her out. But I think she actually talks about putting parsley in. Parsley's full of vitamin C, all kinds of good stuff. So check that one out. This one was an overgrown comfrey. I cut all the leaves back, chopped them up, and I put them in this dirt. So this bed hopefully will do really well this spring because it has lots of good stuff in it that's accessible to the plants. All right, and if we go to the other greenhouse here, this is, I bought these when they were about 6 inches tall, but they are Kona coffee trees. This is my 3rd year of babying them. I have up-potted them every year to a bigger pot. We're soon moving up to the next, I think 15 gallon might be the next size up. Anyway, it looks like they're flowering this year. I have not seen them flower before, and we are getting flowers. And hopefully, all these little sprouts, I believe, are going to be flowers, which will turn into seeds, which is what you eat on the coffee beans, right? So it looks like we might get some coffee beans this summer. I'm not sure how long it's going to take. This is, I call it the salad bowl tunnel, because I put my tomatoes in here this year to see how they would do. They get lots of morning sun when it's not so hot. And then in the afternoon, you kind of want to protect your tomatoes, because that's when the heat just comes in and kills them. So the afternoon, I have this big tree. He shades us right now. He's not much of a shader because his leaves have fallen off for the winter, but pretty soon he's going to be full of leaves, and this will get some nice shade in that, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, 3 to 6 o'clock heat that just eats everybody up, especially all these soft leaves like tomatoes. So far, knock on wood, the fungus has not been a problem in here, but I also come in and prune them up from the bottom. I keep them pruned at the bottom. These are what they call indeterminates, so they will continue to grow and put fruit on. I'm sorry. And then there's determinants that they're bred for a determined amount of fruit. So you don't you don't pull any leaves or stems or anything off of them at all. You don't prune them at all, because you'll be pruning off the fruit that you would have gotten. So, but these ones are not. These are indeterminate, so they can grow until they die, which honestly, past May, you probably won't get tomatoes to grow really well here. I've tried for 2 summers. And at the end of May, that's about when they start petering out, because it's too humid and the fungus just takes over. So there are some ways to deal with some of that fungus, and I can show you some of that as we as our channel grows, I can share what I've learned and how to kind of keep that fungus in control. So this is lettuce. I usually have cucumbers in here too, but I haven't planted any. I'm going to plant them right back there. I just amended the back of that bed yesterday, and I topped these guys off with some compost as well to help them. I do feed my tomatoes because I have learned if you actually want some fruit off your tomatoes, you have to feed them in this climate. And it's just so that they will grow a little bit faster, just to kind of get ahead of the heat and get them going. I start them in January, February timeframe. Actually, I started these last fall, and because we had a very mild winter here in Florida, we didn't really get any freezing weather. They survived, and they just in the last month, they actually started growing like crazy because the sun, we're having longer days of sun, and that's what they need. They need at least 6 to 8 hours. Better to have 8 of direct sun a day. So luckily the sun comes up right over here. I think I have my tunnels positioned in the right spot on our property. And then the sun goes this way across the sky, and it sets back there on that side of the back of the property. And it goes behind those trees around 4 o'clock. And then we get some shade from that hot sun, which I didn't know when I was setting it up. I kind of did it by accident just because of the way the property's laid out. This was the open space on our property, and the house and the yard. The groomed grass is on the other side of the house, and the dogs, they have a backyard too that they can run around and not tear up the garden. We also have chickens. Here's our chickies. We're allowed to have 5 in this zoned area. So that's what we have. We have 5 chickens, so we have our own eggs. We also have behind there, I let them compost for me. I clean out the inside where they sleep, and of course, you know, they make messes. So that mess turns into fertilizer for my garden. I mix it with pine shavings that are in their beds, and then they turn it around during the day. I let them forage around. They love to do that. It makes for happy chickens. They also have a sand pit that they can also wash in. You know, that's how they wash themselves. They dust. So they're all hanging out in there this morning. Looks like they're getting ready for their baths. So anyway, thanks for hanging out with me this morning. Come around so you can see me. There we go. Thanks for hanging out with me this morning. I hope to share our journey of growing and learning how to grow in Florida, because there is a little bit of a trick to it. You just have to take your time and start with varieties that do well in Florida. That's my one suggestion for you. And I'll keep sharing with you the varieties that I'm using and the ones that are doing well and the ones that I've used in the past. I'll share a video of that as well, so you can see which ones not to buy at the store. Unfortunately, the stores sell varieties that just don't grow well here. I've tried many of them, so that's when I started buying seeds. Check out Johnny Seeds. True Leaf, Baker's, I believe is another Baker's Rare Seeds, I think it's called. They have a really good variety of different seeds to buy. I've been sticking with the Japanese type, just because Japanese varieties, because their climate is similar to ours. So I'm hoping some of those will actually do a little bit better when it starts to get more humid here. But anyway, thanks for joining me today. I hope to see you again soon. Share with me in the comments, like and subscribe as well. And let me know what you're looking to do and how I can help you grow in Florida better. Take care. God bless.